this is the long promised video on Etsy. It's been mad around here. Just haven't had a spare hour in the day to do anything like this. So, and I've really been looking forward to it because I am excited about Etsy and my new Etsy shop. So I did want to update you. It's a good time to update because I've had a good 3 months at it now, actually a little bit more. When did I start? Beginning of June. So June, July, August. We're in the late end of September. So actually, yeah, this is well overdue. But there was the first couple of weeks in June. I guess I wouldn't have really counted. It's more of a motivational video, this. There are lots of videos out there for tutorials on how to set up a shop. I'll point out a couple of things that you do need to consider. But in general, if you really want an expert to talk you through setting up your shop and tutorials on how to do things, then this probably isn't the right place right now. I hope that it will be in the future, that I'll get better at it and be able to share some of my tips. Certainly as I'm going through this journey, I will share my successes, my bloopers, I maybe won't share with you the terrible designs that I did at the beginning because they're just cringe. But I have learned, and that's the thing that you must remember, is it is a learning curve in the beginning. Oh, where to start? Oh, yay. I think when I first started looking at Etsy, I didn't consider it seriously because I always just thought it was people hand making stuff at home and selling them, whether that was crafts or jewellery, anything like that really. And a lot of it is, but it's progressed with something called print on demand. And that opens up a whole new world for people who can't maybe set up a shop as such at home. They don't have a workshop, they don't have space, and they don't have the funds to buy in the stock. So for example, there are those on Etsy who sell mugs. Now they print their own mugs. They have a printer at home that wraps around the mug and prints it. They buy in the stock of mugs, they make their designs, they buy the ink for the printer, and they sell and ship those mugs themselves. Not everyone can do that. Not everybody has the funds to start up like that. So printing in demand is amazing. There are lots of different companies that you can collaborate with on this and link up with. I chose Printify. I've lots and lots of videos I've watched on Etsy, and there are a few favourites that I would refer to. Cassie Johnson is one of them. You will find that most of them are American, and there's a few things that you do need to avoid when you're looking at these videos. Avoid the clickbait. If you see a thumbnail and it says, I don't know, $25,000 a month selling this, ignore it. Well, don't ignore it, just avoid. Because what you do is you get sucked into something and then you become really disappointed when you don't make $25,000 a month. So, being realistic, my first 3 months, I've sold 2 things. I've sold a mug and I've sold a notebook. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, KDP, I'm really enjoying making notebooks and now colouring books, and I'm moving into puzzle books. I won't go into that now, that's a separate video on KDP. But I had the designs anyway for the notebooks, so I uploaded some for my Etsy and I've sold one. In the beginning, you kind of have to go with the flow with what you like, otherwise you won't keep an interest. Again, all of the videos are so contradicting on some of them, Some will say, just find out what works for you, which is what I've done. Others will say you must research and find a niche. You must find a niche. And there's this big fight between, those that are saying you can't be successful unless you have a niche. And then those that say, no, you should have a general all-in-one shop and design what you want. Mine's general at the moment, but I've started to find a niche. So that's good for me because I didn't know what my niche was going to be. And just doing research, it's like a needle in a haystack. And you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? So I kind of went with my interest and what I liked. And that is Art Deco designs, 1920s Art Deco style, vintage styles. I did it with my colouring books and it's kind of stuck. And I just like it. I like the designs. So in the beginning, I was doing mugs based on what, these big Etsy YouTubers were saying, do this, do that. This is popular. But the competition is too big. It's saturated. So you do need a niche, but you've got to find it, and you can't find it unless you try a few things first. Now, there's a key to that. When you do watch some of these big Etsy players on YouTube, they have a collaboration or an affiliate with these big software companies, including Etsy or Printify or others like Canva design platforms. So mostly for most of them, you can get some freebies or some money off. And that's really useful with Etsy. You can get 40 listings free. So when you first start off, 40 free listings, you'll need them to make a mess. It's not like the listings are expensive anyway. Your listings last 4 months and they say 20 cents in US. It works out at 16 pence in the UK. 16 pence, and then there's VAT on that. Remember also when you are watching American Etsy YouTubers that their tax are different. We have VAT, and you need to think about that. I'll probably go into that maybe either later on or in a different video because it's quite complicated. Well, actually it's not that complicated, but I'll leave that for now. So it works out 19 pence per listing, but you get 40 free listings to play with first. And that's really valuable because you can make a mess of some of your first designs and not worry about it. By the time you've done 40, trust me, you'll know what you're doing. Because your listings only last for 4 months, it's best just to leave them, let them, because one of my free listings, my first ones, I just thought, well, it's okay, I'll just leave it there. And it's turned out to be one of my biggest visit views. People are viewing that particular mug and design the most, and it's the one mug that I've sold as well. So I'm quite happy with that. But you will make some mistakes, and in the beginning, that's absolutely fine. I think it's better that you do because then you learn from it. As you progress, you'll be watching lots more videos. You'll be told, torn from one end to the other, saying, do this design. And the designs that are incredibly popular, again, the competition is massive and they're saturated. So I would never copy a design, but have a look at it, think of the concept and the inspiration for that, and then think about how you can put your stamp on it. So I've taken a lot of ideas and I've gone very Art Deco with it. I've gone very vintage. So some of the designs are quite groovy. Oh, I don't like doing that. But yeah, they're very groovy, and these letters and fonts are like this bubbly, I don't know. I'll put a photo up and show you what I mean of the type of designs that everyone's doing, and everyone is saying on Etsy, you need to do this and you need to do that. you don't. You just need to get a general idea of what's selling and then put your own design and stamp on it. Again, as I've been progressing, I've started getting better at it, and I've started to, I do a design and then I put it away and I sleep on it, and then I'll look at it the next day and I'll know if I like it or I don't. So that's another good little tip. As you progress, you'll get used to that. Biggest key when you very first start in Etsy, take your time. Take your time, don't rush it. I got into a panic because there's so much out there in these videos, and they're saying we're coming up to Q4 and it's the last quarter of the month. Apparently that's when everybody, you know, really starts selling. So you go into a panic mode and you think, I've got a list, I've got to get all these listings up. And then you've got some saying you need 10 listings a day, or you get all these listings, bang, bang, upload. And then another of the experts are saying, absolutely not, do one a day, because Etsy picks up a design and gives it a little push into the market. If you're uploading tons at a time, it doesn't know who you are. It hasn't got time to, fathom out where you belong. So one design a day is what I've done. I started with my 40 ones. I was like, design this, design that, and it was rubbish. And then I settled and I started to concentrate on what I was doing, enjoy it, and upload one at a time. So going back to when I first opened the shop, I did it alongside some of the experts telling me what to do. They talk really fast, so you have to have the pause button ready so you can just stop, do a little bit, go back, and then carry on. And all the way through there was, I must fill out the description, and you must have your brand, and you must have your logo. And I didn't have any of those things. And again, it's a little bit of a panic where you just stop and you think, well, how much time do I need to spend on this description? And it holds you back. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was going to sell. So I just set up the shop, and there was a lot I missed out, of just very basic description, which I've redone, but I need to go back and keep tweaking as I'm getting into a groove of who I am and what I'm selling and what I'm doing and what my designs are like. And the same with my profile little logo. There's a little cute story behind that, which I'll go into on another video. But that, I didn't know what that was going to be, so I just slung anything up just to get me started, really. I started with mugs because, again, that was everything that was being said on Etsy on this print on demand, that was what you should start selling. I don't know whether that was just because it was the video I landed on, because other videos would say start selling t-shirts. But mugs was a good starting point for me to get used to designing, and I did enjoy it. And I have moved into t-shirts. I've also moved into notebooks. I've done a few Christmas decorations. I probably won't do any more of those for profit of them. It's not great. And what else have I done? Getting into hoodies and sweatshirts. Oh, and some Christmas wrapping paper. And I've done the Christmas wrapping paper to match some of my mugs and notebooks, so you can actually have an option to buy the wrapping paper for the gift, which I thought was quite a good idea. So that's where I'm up to with that. But when I first started, didn't know who I was, what I was doing. I just got the shop up and then started to find out what I wanted to do by designing the mugs. The designs that these YouTubers do suggest that you start with are the easy ones. So it is a good idea to give a few of them a go. Just follow them through. You don't have to publish them. So if you do make a mess of them on Printify, when you've set up Printify, and it doesn't have to be Printify, it can be Printiful, or there are others as well. You can just keep it unpublished. I've got a few that are unpublished and just sat there, and I won't publish them. I'll probably end up deleting them. They're just sat there to remind me that the early designs were appalling. There is something else I should point out, is that you can, of course, set this up completely free. You know, you don't need any money backing you up to start this Etsy shop. Your design programs, there are plenty out there that you can get the basic one for free. Canva is one that I started with, but again there are others that you can use. Creative Fabrica, there's one called Kittle or something similar to that. Canva I quite like, so I started with that one. And just go with it, you know, and then if you find that it's not for you, that you're not keen, and it's just something that you don't want to pursue, you've not lost anything, you haven't spent anything, you've given it a go. If you do, and you think, actually, I'm really going to like this, and I'm going to do this, and I think I'm finding out, you know, what I want to do, then you can go to the professional with Canva. And again, they're just not expensive. Canva, they're always in US dollars at about $9.99 a month. It works out around about £7 something for the Canva Pro. So that's what I'm paying to make my designs. I do have Midjourney, which is for from KDP, my notebooks. I sometimes use that. I use that for making my colouring books. But you can pretty much make all of your designs that you need for t-shirts and mugs and notebooks and anything really using Canva Pro. Now moving on, just to explain a little bit about Printify. As I mentioned, there are others that you can link with, and you can have more than one as well. They sync with Etsy, so their software actually links up to Etsy. So when you create a product on Printify, you are in fact just a designer. You know, you've no product as such. You have nothing sat in front of you physically. You're designing something, you put it on a mug or a t-shirt or something else, and the only time that you pay anything is when it sells, and the customer has to pay for it first. So they pay for that product, and then there's the cost of it from Printify, which is synced with Etsy. So your design's gone through to Etsy, they're selling it for you, and then you have your Etsy fees on top of that. So they take their fees as they process that payment. And so you get what's left, basically. And that brings me to what is really important, and that is to make sure you have a really good pricing strategy. I watched a huge amount of videos on pricing strategies, and the reason I did that was because the competition is high. There are a lot out there, the big shops, that can afford to sell and do sales at a really, you know, knock down prices. And that's partly to do with Printify. So with Printify, when you're a young early startup, you have the basic Printify account. You can sign up for a premium where you get up to 20% off most of the products. That is not viable unless you're really starting selling, unless you've got money to sit and burn in the background, because that's around about $25 a month for the premium. And as I'm not selling, that's just not something that I would want to invest in right now. So a lot of the big sellers, they have an advantage there. They can either use that 20% to knock off their price, or they're getting more profits. They keep the same price and got more profits. They also can use their best sellers, where they're making a lot of profit, to then use some of that profit to create sales in other areas. So again, you've got a lot of competition there. You've got to think about your pricing strategies. There are some sneaky strategies out there, and when you do your research, you'll find those out. Some of them, you'll see the very first thumbnail and it'll say £8, and you'll be seeing an adult sweatshirt. When you actually go into it, the £8 is for the baby grower. So they've got a baby grower, toddler t-shirt, an adult t-shirt, a hoodie, and it goes all the way up to something like 4XL. Which would be around about £45, but you see the thumbnail shows the £8. So there's a few crafty little strategies there. There's also shipping to consider in your pricing. If you're going to go free shipping, you need to add the shipping price into your product, And you might think, well, what's the point in that? Well, they do. You either it's the way the customer sees it. They see a product and it's £15. They see another product and it's £20. They click on the one £15 and then find that there's a £5 shipping fee on top. Or they click on the one for £20 because it's advertised free shipping. They're both the same price, but it depends on the perception of the customer and, you know, which way you want to go with that. I've tried both, and I found the shipping strategy so complicated and quite stressful that I decided to charge shipping and not offer free shipping. Because the free shipping, you've got to go in at high price, and then you've got your prices just look too high for me, I think. And I do think that when you do come to buy something and you see the shipping price, you're used to that anyway. I'm always used to, you know, postage and packing on top of what you're buying. It's something that I'm very familiar with and I expect. So I've gone down that route, but it might not be for you. It's it's your choice. It's also very different in America to it is in the UK. And this is something else that I made as an error. So just pay note to this. If you're in the UK, sell in the UK. I automatically wanted to sell into the US because it's massive. It's a massive market. If you're starting out, avoid the headache and just focus on selling in the UK. You can always go international later on. The shipping strategies, when you're trying to work out UK and US, there was one mug company in Printify that did, they had a print company in UK and in US, and I thought, well, that's ideal because I can offer free shipping on the mug, and if somebody in the UK buys it, somebody in the US buys it, I don't have to think about, you know, that big international shipping. That particular mug company, it turns out they're not very high quality, and there was just so many other headaches around it. You're selling into the US and suddenly you look at your price on screen and it's more than what you thought, and it's because it's a US company shipping in. The VAT then gets added on top, whereas if you just UK, your VAT is included. It's a lot simpler. There was a lot of complications to it. It was too much of a headache to take right now as a beginner, so I'm sticking with the UK. So I have a few early listings where I've made that mistake. I've done t-shirts that are US only. No one in the UK is going to buy them because the shipping is going to be too expensive. I am going to switch them over eventually, but it's going to be quite a big job to do that. So I do recommend you stick with the UK. Yay! Now, profit. There's not a huge amount of profit. There isn't. You have to sell a lot to make some money on this in Etsy, on print on demand. Despite what they say, once you've created your product on Printify, it shows you the production price, your retail price, the shipping price, and you get an idea of what profit's in it. Usually it'll say around about 40% profit, and you think, oh, lovely. Then you've got your Etsy fees. You've got your Etsy fees on top of that. They're not mad expensive, but it's still a chunk that you need to be aware of, because if you're selling a mug, and I'll just give you for example, the mug that I did sell, I sold at £17.98. I ended up making £2.27 profit from that mug, and you would think, what? Yeah, because I included free shipping, so £6 of it was shipping, and then there was the production, and then there was Etsy fees. By the time it had all come, down to me, there was very little left, and this is partly why I've got rid of the free shipping, just so I know exactly. It's a lot easier to calculate your profit and price your product properly, and just forget about the shipping and just take on what the print provider is saying that they're going to charge for shipping. Let them pass it on to the customer. So yeah, profit wise, it's not a lot. Clothing, that's actually a little bit better. I did watch a video of someone in America who said that the profit was in the mugs, and I don't know how he's worked that out unless he's charging £50 a mug. And that's the other thing to consider, is when you're going against competition. So you'll see some shirts and they're, say, £16, and the design is so simple, it's probably taken 2 minutes for them to do. Simple designs do sell, by the way, it does appear to be key. But if you want to compete with the pricing that they've got, the only way really that you can do it and make a profit is to make your design better, which is why you should take your time. So if they've slung something up and they're selling it at a really cheap price, and you've got a design, it's the same t-shirt, same costs, you know, across the board, unless they've got the Printify premium, then the way to do it is to make sure your design is better than theirs. So when the customer comes along, they see yours and they're happy to pay for it because they like the design. So here it is. I'm going to put a photo up, which will come up here. And this is of the mug that I sold. It's one of my very first designs, and it's actually, it is the one that's got the most views, and it's been favorited the most as well. And it's been sat in some baskets as well, but I have only just sold one. But I'm hoping in Q4 that people are favoriting it and they're thinking, I'm going to go back, you know, that's in my basket and I know that I want that for so-and-so, or when I get paid, or, you know, whenever. So that's the mug that sold. So quite happy with that. Not a lot of profit, but I have changed the shipping. So I'm hoping on the next sales I'll make a little bit more on that. The notebook. Okay, so this is the notebook that sold. And I sold that at £15. And again, not a lot of profit. There's another, it was about £2 something that I made on that. I don't think I offered free shipping on that one. No, I think I'd learnt my lesson by then. No free shipping on that one. So yes, so I've got two products, both very Art Deco designs. That is the way that I'm going. I am now working on Christmas, getting ready for the Christmas shopping. I think it's very early, but because the listings last 4 months, it's the best time to do it, is to get the most out of those 4 months, is to put them up as early as you can, so that right up until the lead of Christmas, you've got that listing live for people to buy. That's really my update. There's so much to cover with Etsy, but I think I just wanted to tell you where I'd got up to, what I've done so far and what's selling. And you know, the big thing is that I am going to stick with it because I'm enjoying it. So I will keep you updated on how well I do. It may not be every month, because if there's not much happening, there's not a lot of point in discussing it. I'm happy to share some of my designs. You know, a lot of the big Etsy YouTubers don't like to. I don't quite know why, but they're happy to show other people's designs and other people's shops. So I'm happy to do that. It's not like I'm worried about anyone copying me. You can copy anybody off Etsy. And to be honest, you can copy me all you like, it might not sell. So, so you could be copying a really bad design. That's it from me. I will keep in touch. The next one will be a KDP update. That is going a lot better than Etsy. That's going quite well. And I'm progressing on to some more medium content books. So I'm getting better at it. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.